Okay, so ABC News affiliate in Scranton, Pennsylvania, this is WNEP, made a big mistake. Let me show you this mistake. See this graphic right here? Harris, Trump, this is the election. See that check mark next to Harris? This is during the Formula One on Sunday. This was during the Mexican Grand Prix, and they aired these election results declaring people winners. Here it is again. This is the Harris-Trump graphic that popped up on the screen. You could imagine the surprise. Sunday viewers watching Formula One, suddenly they see the election has been declared for Kamala Harris. They're thinking, wait a minute, was the election, when's the election? Did it already happen? Did I miss it? You know, you can imagine the shock that some people are having. But what WNEP claimed, because here it is, here's the graphic. Let me just show you this larger. Harris winning 52%, Trump 47%. And then you see the totals there, 3 million, 3.2 million for Harris, 2.9 million for Trump, says 100% reporting. What in the world happened here? Well, they're claiming WNEP in Pennsylvania, in Scranton, Pennsylvania, is saying that, oops, our bad. We made this graphic prematurely. We were testing the system to make sure that it was going to work. And so we put out these election results. Our bad. They actually said, quote, the numbers were not reflective of any actual vote count. Pennsylvania law does not allow mail-in ballots to be taken out of their envelopes until 7 a.m. on election day, and no votes of any kind can be counted in Pennsylvania until after the polls close at 8 p.m. They said that they apologize for any, it says WNEP regrets the error and apologizes for any confusion. We have taken steps to ensure that it does not happen again. Oh. When people are already really nervous about what is going on with the elections, when people are already feeling like, can I really trust this? Is my vote really going to count? How do I know you're not going to misrepresent my vote or throw it away or just fudge the numbers and make them up? Because I'm not there to count the votes myself, so I don't really know. And which individual human being can count 3 million votes or even more than that? I mean, when you look at, this is like 6 million votes. No one person can count 6 million votes. So you're relying on, in good faith, all of these other people also counting their specific precincts boxes worth of votes. They've got multiple people in multiple precincts counting all of these votes, and it takes all of them together to say, this is my tally, this is my tally, this is mine. And you have to rely on, you have to rely that they're being truthful. You have to rely on, if they're feeding a machine that's doing the counting, that the machine doesn't have a bug in it, which we're going to get to the bugs in the Dominion voting system here in a second. But there's a lot of good faith that goes into casting our vote and hoping that all 330 million, well, I guess it wouldn't be 330. There's 330 million Americans, but of course there's underage. A lot of those are children. But, you're looking at a lot of Americans and a lot of votes potentially that need to be counted. And you're kind of just, we all have to have just good faith that these elections are, that our vote actually is being counted properly. So when this type of stuff happens, when they show a graphic on the screen showing us that, Harris wins and here's the election tallies, and they say, whoops, this is, we were just testing the system. How could you, what I don't understand is this, if this is a computerized system that is going to show, so it's one of two things, right? Like either your system is connected, your software that's showing these numbers is connected to some sort of, county reporting system, and it's showing the numbers in real time, in which case you wouldn't be able to show these numbers right now because it's not technically supposed to be connected to any system. Or if it was, it would just show 0.000% reporting and no check mark by anybody's name, right? You would think that it would show that. Otherwise, you've just created this graphic. You're testing the graphic. Like you already, they claimed, oh, we were testing this graphic just to make sure that it works on election day. Well, of course, graphics that are pre-made work. You put them up all the time, every day. Your network is filled with graphics all day, every day. You stick them up on the screen, they work. You don't need to test whether or not your graphics work. I didn't test this graphic before I showed it to you guys. I just know it works. I put all my graphics in my system and they pop up like this. So this whole, oh, we were just testing the graphic to make sure it worked. What are you talking about exactly? Either this is connected to real-time vote counting, in which case, where did these numbers come from? Or this is just a graphic that you insert into the system like you do every other graphic, in which case, why do you need to test it? It doesn't. So this is sowing, anybody that thinks about this for 2 seconds is going to say, this doesn't add up. This doesn't add up, and your apology doesn't add up. What is this? What is going on here? But I will show you this. Let me just show you this other graphic here. So this is from, because I want to show you the numbers. This is from the election in 2020. And if you look at the totals here, and this is with 76% of the turnout in Pennsylvania. This is the final vote count from the 2020 election. Biden got 3.4 and Trump got 3.3. So that is a larger number than this total here, with Harris getting 3.29 and Trump getting 2.98. The real numbers from last election were higher. Now they could say, if they were planning on, let's say, messing with the election and messing with the totals, and if the suspicion that people are having is accurate, then I guess they could say, well, we had fewer people voting this time around than last time. Maybe they could say something like that along those lines. Or, I have it. At this point, especially, I think this was a test. Guys, I'm not even speculate what this was, because that doesn't even make sense to me. Here I am. I'm doing a show for you every day. So I can tell you, you don't need to test these graphics unless they're connected to some sort of a new software that is going to show the tally, the real time, it's going to show the real time count, in which case, what are you connecting that to? Is that going, like, does the county put out a number for you to broadcast in real time? Maybe they do. Maybe they have that kind of software. Are you pulling it from a website? Like, where is this number coming from? And then I can understand you needing to test that, but I don't, why would the numbers then show up in this test when there are no numbers to be had? It should show 0, 0 if that's the case. So I'm as confused as anybody on this. But that's the story on that one. So we will just keep our eyes open, I suppose, on election night and beyond. Okay. Here is another interesting story about voting. Dominion voting machines are apparently experiencing a nationwide issue after reporting a bug in their programming. This is Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson talking about it.
Issues with the programming of the bats, with specifically from Dominion. Why was that only caught in the past few days, and why can't it be fixed? I saw the release.
Yeah, this is a nationwide issue with Dominion voter access terminals in the counties that use them. And the voter access terminals, of course, not all the machines, just the ones that are accessible, have an issue with the straight party voting and a programming issue that's, again, affected the machines nationwide. And I think all of us that use Dominion machines were unhappy to learn about this during the testing period and as early voting began. So we're working with Dominion to seek accountability on that front, and also are working with our clerks to ensure voters are aware of this programming issue that will require them to ensure they are voting every section on the ballot.
Do you think it's a bigger issue in Michigan because we do allow voters to cross over in ways that a lot of other states don't? Because
we have straight party. It's not struck me as I've talked to my other colleagues in other states. They're just as upset about it as we are. So, yeah, or surprised, I think.
Okay, so what exactly does this mean for these Dominion voting machines? So essentially, and this is according to the Secretary of State of Michigan, this is a nationwide issue. This is not just a Michigan issue with these Dominion voting machines. But apparently, if you use VAT, which is Voter Assist Terminal, so this is for people with disabilities, they have a special way of being able to vote that's built into the software. I think it's very similar, like when you go to a banking ATM. So if you are a split ticket voter, so let's say you are typically a Democrat and you want to vote Democrat for all the positions, but you don't want to vote for Kamala Harris. And, you're like, look, they took the old guy out to pasture. I didn't vote for Kamala Harris. She's unpopular. I'm not voting for her. I'm voting for somebody else. That would be a split ticket. If you are going to vote split ticket using VAT on a Dominion machine nationwide, apparently, then you will get an error message. Your vote it won't work. So what they're saying is what you have to do is do a straight ticket. So you have to just vote straight Democrat or vote straight Republican, and then you make your different choices. And then you have to exit the ballot, print it out, print out your, I actually don't know exactly what they're claiming what these people have to do. Like they would have to then, my understanding is print out the ticket, and then you can change your votes and then cast your ballot. So then I don't know how they would go about counting that. That to me is also because a lot of times these ballots are then fed into a counting machine, I think. I actually don't know. I mean, that's the problem, right? None of us really know exactly how our votes are counted. And especially when there's an error like this, we don't really know then what happens. And that's a big issue. Now, so this has to do with these Dominion voting machines. And a lot of people have been questioning Dominion voting machines. And others have said it's totally false. There's nothing to question. There's nothing here. The big counter, I think, to there being any sort of meddling on these Dominion voting machines or any voting machine is the fact that they're not connected to the internet. Okay, so I'm going to read this to you. This is voting machine security FAQs. This is from a county in Illinois, and they put this out there. A lot of counties put this out there, like, don't worry about voting security. They're not connected to the internet. Everything's cool. This is what they say. So they say it's a popular theory that voting machines are hacked when an election doesn't turn out the way one would like. But in order for a machine to be hacked, it is to be connected to the internet. Is that true? So they say at no time are McAlpin, I think it's McAlpin County, this is in Illinois, machines, at no time are they connected to the internet. Here's the process. 1, you vote on a touch screen and then print out your paper ballot. This machine is never connected to the internet. 2, you insert your paper ballot into the tabulator to be counted, right? That's what I thought. So I don't know exactly these people that have these issues where they then have to change their ticket. Will the tabulator know how to count that? Then it says the the hanging chads in Florida, things like that, right? So will it recognize, oh, it made you vote straight ticket, but now we're going to, like, how, I just don't know if it's going to know this. It says then the tabulator is never connected to the internet. You insert your paper ballot. So then it says 3, after the polls close, election judges return the tabulator and paper ballots to the courthouse. We take the flash drive from the tabulator and insert it into a laptop. Okay, a laptop, which is, by the way, it's okay. So then it says, I spoke too soon. It says this laptop has never been and never will be connected to the internet. But is that true? I mean, how did you get the software on the laptop? So they say like the original operating system software onto the laptop. So you would have had to ensure that you set up these laptops without the internet using software that you've downloaded using what? A thumb drive, or somehow you put the operating system onto the laptop. Same thing with these voting machines. Somehow you got the software onto the voting machine. How did you get that onto the voting machine? How did you get the operating software onto the laptop just to get the laptop to turn on and function and have an operating system? You needed to use some way of getting this onto the machine. How do I know whatever you use, be a thumb drive or a disk drive, how do I know that wasn't corrupted? How do I know the software itself that was developed somewhere by somebody isn't corrupted? Right? There's it doesn't matter if it's connected to the internet. There's a lot of ways to get bugs into systems. So it says, once the results are uploaded to the laptop, we take a completely different flash drive and copy over a set of results. Again, this flash drive, who manufactured the flash drive? How did the flash drive end up to you? In whose hands was this flash drive before it got to you? But it's all about the internet. They're never connected to the internet, so don't worry. Okay, there's a lot of ways, a lot of processes before we don't need the internet. Then it says, this would be the only step that potentially could be hacked. Okay, so they say once the results are uploaded to the laptop, we take a completely different flash drive and copy over a set of results to upload to the public website on a totally different computer. And this would be the only step that potentially could be hacked. That's not true. You could hack. So for one, how did they get into each and every voting machine? How do they get the names? How do you get Harris and Trump into those voting machines? Because last election, it was Trump and Biden, right? And every election, you have to change these out. How did you do that? So it's not connected to the internet. I understand that. But you have to then get a thumb drive or a disk drive. You've got to do something in order to get those names onto all of the voting machines. And I really doubt one individual is going in on every voting machine and typing in the names for every single, and typing up every single voting measure and, all the propositions, everything in there. I doubt some person is going in and physically typing all of that into every single individual machine. No, it's uploaded into the machine. Well, how is it uploaded into the machine? Oh, a thumb drive. Oh, with thumb drives. You don't need the internet. Who had access to that thumb drive before you put it into the machine? How do I know as a normal person who's just volunteering at my voting precinct? How do I, and now, or maybe I'm the elected official. Maybe I'm the elected official who's overseeing elections, and I know I'm not corrupt, but you're handing me a thumb drive. I didn't make the thumb drive. I didn't put the software on the thumb drive, and I didn't program the software that goes on the thumb drive. So I'm just taking everybody's word for it that this thumb drive has no bugs. Everything's cool. Yeah, it's not the internet, so it's fine. I'm going to stick it in the machine and all's well. Then they say here, so they're claiming that's the only step that could potentially be hacked because that would go on the public website, which would be then connected to the internet, obviously, because it's a website. Say, but let's say that it was the results website would show the wrong results, but the official results. So they're saying, okay, so the website maybe would be hacked and they show the wrong results, but the official results on the laptop would not have been changed. The paper ballots would not have been changed, which who is going to count 6 million paper ballots just in the state of Pennsylvania alone? Sure, it wouldn't be great that our results website was showing the wrong numbers, but the actual results and counts itself would not be changed whatsoever. They literally think we're stupid. They just think, look, we could just tell you it's not connected to the internet, and you're not going to question the entire process of how the software gets from everywhere. Even just the software that gets installed on the damn operating laptop, the operating system that gets downloaded onto the laptop that then is supposed to run this software that's supposed to tabulate. I mean, even that, but don't worry, it just wasn't connected to the internet. Then after election day, the state randomly sends us 5 precincts as well as one of the early and mail vote tabulators to retabulate or audit. We have to rerun every ballot through the same tabulator and get the exact same number of ballots cast and votes counted for each candidate. If they do not match up, we have to investigate to find the discrepancy. Okay, so they're saying after election day, the state randomly sends 5 precincts. How do I know it's random? How do you know it's random? How do you know the person who's supposed to be selecting the random precincts isn't corrupt or has been gotten to or has their own agenda? It's a lot of faith here that we're having to put into hoping that our votes matter. Okay, so then I asked the question. I asked this just of ChatGPT, just to be honest with you, of how, okay, if these voting machines are not connected to the internet, how do they receive the software updates? Now we see that Dominion voting machines have a bug. Well, how would have Dominion fixed that bug? They would have had to send out some sort of software update. How would that software update have gotten onto the voting machine? So this answer from ChatGPT, just take it for what it's worth. If you don't want to trust it whatsoever, then fine. But it's claiming that voting machines typically receive software updates and new information for elections through a secure process that doesn't rely on internet connection. Here's how it generally works. So even chat, even chat is bringing up the internet. I just asked, how do they get the different names onto the voting machines each election cycle? And chat spits out, not with the internet, right? So they're, they're really pushing this. No internet, so no hacking. So number 1, it says physical media. So updates are often provided via physical media, such as a USB drive or secure memory card. Election officials receive the updated software and necessary data from Dominion or authorized sources, which they then load onto the machines manually. Right. Okay. Well, so I'm the election official who's just going to load this software on manually. I didn't program the software. I didn't make the software. I didn't make the damn thumb drive, even the USB drive. I didn't make any of it. I have to just trust that it's all cool. 2, secure protocols. The process of transferring software updates and election data is designed to be secure. This may involve encryption and strict protocols to prevent tampering or unauthorized access, unless you're the guy who knows how to do that, right? 3, pre-election testing. Before each election, voting machines are thoroughly tested to ensure they are working correctly with the new software and data. This testing process typically includes checks for security vulnerabilities. You mean like how Scranton, Pennsylvania just tested the results on Formula One? You mean that kind of testing? Because we saw what that test result gave. Harris win. Local control finally says, since the machines are not connected to the internet, local election officials have control over the updates, reducing the risk of outside interference. The election officials are not software programmers. Election officials are not, they're not software geniuses or computer nerds. They're just elected officials. They're local volunteers, or they're, These people, how would they wouldn't be able to look at this thumb drive and say, yeah, looks good to me. Nobody tampered with it. It looks good. Stick it in the machine. I'm sure all will be okay. I mean, so to make this claim like, oh, it's just the internet, guys, don't worry about it. That's not enough of a defense, I think, or enough of a, not a defense, I should say, but at least it's not enough of a guarantee. It's not enough to make us feel like, yeah. So I think it's fair for us as voters as we move forward and as there's increasing questions, and we see all the time, the United States will point the finger at foreign countries all the time and say, well, their elections were rigged. They messed with the results. Well, how did they do it? How was it that what are you accusing them of doing, and how did they rig their elections? So if they're able to do this in whatever way you're claiming they were able to do it, why don't we do something for our elections in order to protect us from that, rather than you just swearing up and down, like, I swear, they're fine, they're cool. Maybe we should take some more steps. I don't know what those steps are. I'm just putting this out. I have no idea what those steps are. I have no idea what the right answer is. People say paper ballots. Well, I just watched a bunch of paper ballot boxes get lit on fire and those ballots destroyed. So I don't know if that's really the answer either. I don't know what the answer is, but I know that it's really an insult to our intelligence for them to just say nothing can be hacked because nothing hit the internet. Well, there's a lot of other ways from my viewpoint where this could happen, but it just, the bottom line is we have to be able to trust our voting systems. We have to be able to trust the results of the election. That is absolutely essential to maintaining a democracy. That's essential. So we have to go above and beyond in order to protect our elections. Above and beyond, no matter what that is. For people we don't want to show IDs. Why not? Why aren't we just going above and beyond? To me, I think it is kind of strange that I don't have to show my ID. I literally received a ballot in the mail here in the state of California. Anybody can fill it out, honestly, and remail it back in or drop it off. I guess drop it off. I don't even know because I haven't voted yet. I don't know if I'm supposed to. I forget because I think I normally drop it off or I go into the precinct. I really haven't done much mail-in voting, but I don't remember how I did it last time. I think I had to drop it off. I think I filled it out and dropped it off in a box that could be lit on fire. But I think, we've got to do more in order to protect our elections and make people feel more confident in the results. I think that's essential, and they should be spending much more time on this and doing everything they can to ensure that these types of mistakes with bugs in the machines or showing results during Formula One on a Sunday, those things just cannot happen if we're going to be maintaining some sort of election integrity in this country. Thank you so much for watching. This was just a clip from the longer, larger show that you can catch Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern at KimIversonShow.com. That'll route you to the platform where you need to be in order to get the full uncensored show every Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Click on that link, watch the full interview. See you there.